Okay, good morning everybody. Maayong buntag sa tanan, maabig abukla kumuyo halban, maupay nga aga hanga tanan, mapteng ja agsapa tayo amin. These are the greetings of good morning from various participants all over the Philippines. Welcome to the second year of the Museum Management Training implemented by Museo Kordilyera and generously funded by the Commission on Higher Education. Okay, so our program today, we will have the opening message from Dr. Prosperi Covar, Chairperson of the Commission on Higher Education. Welcoming remarks from our dear Chancellor Corazon Abansi. And then we will have the plenary session with Dr. Raymundo Rovillos at 10:30 in the morning. So we are receiving a lot of greetings from Sagay City, Negros, Davao, Zamboanga, Zambales, Iloilo, Guimaras, Angono, Quezon City, Nueva Ecija, and others. No? So we'd like to welcome everyone to our second museum management training. So let's start with the opening message, welcoming remarks from Dr. Prospero de Vera, Chairperson of the Commission on Higher Education.
I am Attorney Lily Frida Milia, the Director of International Affairs Staff of the Commission on Higher Education, and I am here to deliver the message of Dr. J. Prospero Popoy de Vera III, Chairman of the Commission on Higher Education for the Museum Management Training for HEI's Year 2, a CHED Study in the Philippines project by the University of the Philippines, Baguio. His message: to the officials of the University of the Philippines, Baguio, Dr. Corazon L. Abansi, Chancellor, Dr. Raymundo Rovillos, former University of the Philippines, Baguio, Chancellor and Chair of Creative and Arts Council of Baguio City, Dr. Analyn Salvador-Amores, Director of Museo, Kordilyera, and Project Leader of the Museum Management Training Year 2. Colleagues from different national and local government agencies, distinguished museum consultants, presidents and representatives of Philippine higher education institutions, and all other participants of the Museum Management Training Year 2, a pleasant morning to us all. University museums are powerful resource centers for HEIs wishing to maximize the impact of their teaching and research to reach new audiences. They provide both students and faculty members supplementary learning resources that reinforce teaching and learning processes. The establishment of our university museums, contextualized in your local cultures, is aligned with the CHED Memorandum Order Number 2, Series of 2019, titled Integration of Indigenous Peoples Studies / Education into the relevant higher education curricula. This is one of the actions undertaken by the Commission on Higher Education in fulfilling its promise to the Congress that CHED will assist the tourism industry to bounce back from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. CHED, through the Study in the Philippines program, envisions our universities to become tourist destinations as well, because we know that our universities have a rich history just waiting to be properly documented and narrated. We want to attract international students and visitors to travel and study here in the country. To do that, we must capacitate our universities and even the surrounding communities so that they are well equipped to host international learners and make sure that they stay and even attract their friends and family to come and visit the Philippines as well. The first year of UP Baguio's museum management training was a success, with around 150 participants completing its three-level training, most of whom came from our universities and colleges. What is more impressive is that according to UP Baguio Museo Kordilyera, this year's museum management training program has attracted at least 350 participants. This is a testament that given the opportunity and the necessary assistance, our HAIs can live up to the challenge in making our history known to all and promote the Philippines as both an education and tourism destination. So congratulations, University of the Philippines, Baguio. The Commission hopes for the success of this year's museum management training. Congratulations to everyone for taking the necessary steps. I look forward to all of you completing this training program. Once again, a pleasant morning to us all. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Year 2 of the Museum Management Training implemented by Museo Kordilyera and generously funded by the Commission on Higher Education. The success of the museum training last year, with 600 participants from all over the Philippines, demonstrated the need for this kind of training from higher education institutions, state universities, and local government units. The training aims to assist local museums in reinvigorating their museum from management, curation, conservation, and digitalization. All these were implemented even with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. After 1 year, we have seen the resilience of our museum participants and had been gaining ground on their respective museums. The learnings they received from the trainings cascaded and positively impacted their university museums. We have seen how the museum management training and the substantial inputs from our panel of museum experts benefited the museums in various ways, such as 1. Assisted in the building of startup museums in the regions. 2. Improved the writing of concept papers and secured funding from CHED and other institutions in improving their museums. 3. Organize their museum strategic plans. 4. Improve the museum management and professionalizing the work in the museums. 5. Provided additional staff and items for their university museums. 6. An aggressive action on the preventive conservation of their collections. 7. Assisted in the acquisition of relevant museum artifacts. 8. Established collaboration with local government agencies. 9. Restructured educational programs and policies around the museums. And 10. Advanced their museum exhibitions to a digital platform. Many of the museums are still a work in progress, but have in many ways seen the contribution of the museum management training in the continued education of the museum workers through our Year 1 webinars archived in the Museo Cordillera website. All these are free of charge and can be accessed anytime. This is accompanied by a publication of the 2-volume proceedings and our museum kits that have been sent nationwide to all our participants, and recently a publication of the HAI Museum Directory as part of the networking efforts of university museums. With the COVID-19 still in our midst, we have seen many of you travel from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao and visited the Museo Kordilyera as part of your benchmarking activities. Furthermore, our gratitude for including our Museo Kordilyera to be a role model and inspiration in building your respective museums, and adapted the best museum practices in place at Museo Kordilyera. We express our admiration for your appreciation and continued support to UP Baguio's efforts in research and extension, specifically in museum education. Now, on its second year, the Museum Management Training aims to achieve the same goals in assisting our university museums in the country. Our Museum Director, Dr. Analyn Salvador-Amores, and her team conducted the Training Needs Assessment Survey and aims for a more applied and practical museum management training. From here, her team convened the best museum practitioners to deliver the trainings to its many stakeholders. The target number for the training is only 100 participants, but exceeded the expectation of 400 participants from all over the Philippines, who showed enthusiasm in participating in the program. We hope that with the easing of the travel restrictions, and if allowed, we hope to meet you in Baguio for the hands-on workshops and to witness the improvement of your museum after the training. Again, we thank you for the continued support of our programs, and we hope that we can visit your respective museums in the future as sites of creativity and educational tourism. Diyos ti admina kada kayo amin.
Baguio City is the melting pot of all these Cordillera cultures from Bontoc, Ifugao, Kalinga, Itneg, from Abra, Isnag in Apayao, Ibaloy and Kankanai also are here in the Cordillera. So sometimes our younger generation are tied up to technology, but we have to provide content, very good content, educational content, to learn about the cultures of the Cordillera. Sometimes we also have the role of changing minds and for greater appreciation of Cordillera culture, because it's there and some of this culture are also fast dwindling, so it's better to preserve them, and of course not only about preservation but also to disseminate, promote, and even respect, protect all of these cultures in the Cordillera. In fact, we have this interdisciplinary team, the Cordillera Textiles Project, which is the basis of this exhibition. So for those other people who are using, for instance, sacred textiles for bed sheets or for fashion, I suggest that they should read more, research more, and immerse themselves to the community to understand the value of these textiles, whether that's used for sacred rituals or that's used for the everyday or mundane activities of the Cordilleran people. So I think it's best to educate first. No? That's our role, to educate the people out there who are unfamiliar with the cultures of the Cordillera. My favorite piece of the Mosaic Cordillera is the one that we have on the Gadang textiles from Paracelis Mountain Province, because they are replete with embroidery, heavily beaded, ornamented clothing, no, from the Mountain Province. And the technology of production of those textiles is very, very tedious. And we also went to the field to actually witness how these are done. And we saw the elders, we saw young women who actually made that particular textile. And what we have in the museum is a pair of gadang textile for the male and the female one, and then the other one is the Abra textiles. We also have, they have very different variety of textiles, no, from that particular group, the Tingyan or the Itneg of the Cordillera. They have figurative textiles. There are very small weaves, no, and then you are confounded how these weaves are woven on a backstrap or a foot loom. And many are used in various rituals in different life stages among the Abra. The Museo Kordilyera is, free for all alumni, and you can access the 3D virtual tour of the current exhibition of the Museo Kordilyera. So we invite everybody to check it out, to learn about their culture. We also are willing to accept gifts from the alumni. We've had a lot of alumni abroad who are very, very supportive of the advocacy of Museo Kordilyera. So there are fundraising to buy, for instance, artifacts that the university cannot afford, or it has to go through a very complex paper documentation. So the alumni helped us. They also sent photographs, archival photographs, and some artifacts that are very, very valuable to the Museo Kordilyera for education. So we welcome the alumni to visit our website, and hopefully when travel restrictions are over, they can come to the Museo Kordilyera and enjoy our culture, our Kordilyera.
Okay, good morning again, everybody. Thank you for the opening and welcoming remarks from our Chairperson, Prospero de Vera, and our Chancellor, Corazon Abansi. So now I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Raymundo Rovillos. He's a professor of history at the University of the Philippines, Baguio. He was also our former chancellor at UP Baguio, and he was one of the proponents for making Baguio one of the UNESCO's creative city under crafts and folk art. And he also convened the faculty to establish the PhD Indigenous Studies program of UP Baguio. Now it's currently implemented last semester. So we have a good number of students coming from different disciplines to study Indigenous studies. And then currently he is the chair of the Creative Baguio City Council under the city of Baguio. And there are many projects ongoing, such as the Baguio Festival, the Mandeco Quito, the Artisanal Fair, and a lot of seminars and conferences devoted to creative city in Baguio. So without further ado, we would like to welcome Professor Raymundo Rovillos. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Ikin. Good morning, everyone from all over the Philippines. I can see that we have participants from north to south, especially the south. I noticed maraming participants from Mindanao. Good morning po sa inyo lahat. Good morning, Chancellor Corazon Abansi, and my fellow panelists. Please allow me to share my PowerPoint. Okay, the topic that was assigned to me by Dr. Amores is the role of university museums in tourism development and creative industry. Actually, I would like to qualify tourism here as sustainable tourism development and creative industry. I have the following objectives for us after this lecture. Participants are able to discuss the factors that contribute to the success of a university museum. And number two, to explain the links between and among university museums, tourism development or sustainable tourism development, and the creative industry. I'd like to start with this video clip, which also appeared in the recent e-Carillon, the e-version, the e-magazine of UP system.
When I became chancellor in 2012, during our strategic planning workshop, we agreed, no, as a university, that UP Baguio should really position itself as a showcase for researches done, no, on Cordillera studies. And what better way to do this than to put up a research-based university museum? The first thing that I did was, of course, to commission somebody, to ask somebody to do a benchmark study of world-class university museum, so that, of course, we will learn from them. No? And at that time, Dr. Analyn Salvador-Amores was coming back, no, from her PhD in Oxford University. And I was thinking also, I have to do something to keep this person here, you know, and to really to make her busy, give her a project that will convince her that it is worth staying and returning to UP Baguio. So nabuo yung concept. No? It's going to be an ethnographic museum. It's going to focus on Cordillera culture, and it's going to be a university museum. While that was being conceptualized, I already had assigned somebody to design the museum. A very young architect, Aris Go, who spent 1 year here in UP Baguio and then transferred to UP Diliman College of Architecture, and then after that, his master's in architecture at the University of Sydney, in Australia. I also believe kasi that I cannot just rely on our own internal talent. I had to bring in experts because nobody was an expert at UP Baguio on museology. We do have anthropologists and we do have people in the arts, no? But we don't have expertise on how to manage a museum, how to curate a museum. So I had to bring in experts from outside, from Manila. And again, I think serendipitously, I was in a meeting. I bumped into someone who was also a UP alumna, and at that time, up to now, the curator of Ateneo Gallery. She has a group of UP alumni also na magkakaibigan din sila. So si Peter Natividad, who is with Lopez Museum, expertise niya mga technical, no? Yung humidity, yung lighting, ganyan. And then they brought in also Mr. Danny of Yuchenko Museum. And these were very good people, very experienced and very brilliant, yet very, very humble people. They agreed, to do some consultancy work with me, with the UP Baguio, at a very, very reasonable cost, price. Talagang sabi na, out of love for UP na to. But the only condition was, okay, I will engage you in a consultancy for 1 year, but you have to work with my local team, but so that there is local transfer of knowledge and skills, transfer of know-how, so that we will not be dependent on external consultants forever. So the museum was inaugurated in January 2017, and we did not only open the building itself, we already opened the first exhibit, which featured samples of ethnographic works in the region, like the batok or tattoo exhibit based on the PhD dissertation of Dr. Analyn Salvador-Amores, the works of the late Jules Derat, his ethnographic work in Kalinga, and the photography or the ethnographic photography of Roland Rabang. And I will really give it to President Alfredo E. Pascual, who was 100% supportive of the projects, made sure that the funds are available. And the alumni were very happy that finally we have this, especially when they saw the opening. They couldn't believe that something like this could happen at UP Baguio. And they took pride in what was here, and because they said, wow, this is really UP's pride, not only of UP Baguio. So we're lending or donating this heirloom of a Ming Dynasty jar, or this heirloom of this my collection of beads. No? So a lot of what you see here, no, I think about 50% would be loans or donations from our UP alumni. We wanted the Cordillera cultures and the Cordillera region and its people really to be recognized, no? As part of this nation. I'm happy that that goal was realized. Kasi I always come here eh. It was my kumbaga, way of distressing. I just, when it was already operational, ang daming pumapasok. And I would read their feedbacks, and I would even talk to them, what do you feel? And people from all over the country, what do you feel? They only say one thing, I am proud to be Filipino. Yun na yun. Kasi yun talaga yung layunin natin. Na nakakatuwa na nangyari yung ganung vision at ganung pangarap na pwede palang gawin.
Okay. Okay. I hope you were inspired by that story. That's in a nutshell is the story of Museo Kordilyera, how we began. No. So just to reiterate, Museo Kordilyera, its mission is to cultivate an understanding of and respect for the identity and culture of the indigenous peoples of the Cordillera and Northern Luzon as an integral part of the evolving Filipino culture. As a museum dedicated to regional culture, the Museo Kordilyera serves as a repository of the tangible and intangible heritage of the Cordillera. Distinguished by its integral connection to the work of the faculty from various disciplines, the museum is a vital learning resource center, a living museum, and a venue for disseminating the research output of the faculty. So take note that at the very beginning, the goals of the University Museum were more or less intrinsic. No, these are intrinsic goals: appreciation of culture of the Cordillera people, promotion of faculty researches, and engagement with the community, and of course, ultimately, promoting Filipino identity. There was nothing in the document, founding documents of the Museo Kordilyera, that it was going to be established for the sake of tourism. No, so we did not have in mind putting a museum to attract tourists, right? But the tourism aspect of it, for me, became an outcome or a result of Museo Kordilyera. Although we did not intend it to be a tourism site, it eventually became a tourism site because people patronized it. People from all over the country, tourists, and a particular kind of tourists who are looking for something local, something that represents the city and the culture of the region. These are types of tourists who want to learn from the local and from the culture, not just to go to the traditional tourist attractions of Baguio City. And gusto ko sabihin talaga na that tourism, the role of the museum in tourism development became more of an outcome rather than an explicit objective of the museum. And we are happy with that. And we are very happy to tell the story because we found out that if you build something beautiful, something nice, people will come, people will contribute to it. They wouldn't mind paying the entrance fee, which is very modest, and buying our merchandise in the museum merchandise store and spending a few more in our cafeteria. So that's how I would like to frame this presentation, all right? So it was initially built based on intrinsic goals rather than instrumentalist goals, which is for local tourism development. The latter became an outcome, as I said earlier. As an ethnographic museum, the Museo is focused on the collection, preservation, and display of objects associated with the unique societies and cultures of the Cordillera region. It has an essential connection to anthropology, particularly the mode of anthropological research and discourse known as ethnography, characterized by detailed and holistic knowledge produced through external fieldwork and immersion in the culture of local communities. I am quoting from the recent calendar of Museo Kordilyera, which it focuses on native resilience, indigenous ways of coping with disease and epidemic in the Cordillera. Now, so let me just also bring you back to the earlier exhibits of Museo Kordilyera, as mentioned earlier. The first exhibit featured examples of ethnographic works of our faculty from various disciplines, anthropology, humanities and the arts, and represented them through this exhibit. Immediately after the launching of the Museo Kordilyera in, I think, February of 2017, we already had a series of workshops on craft making, because one of the objectives of the Museo Kordilyera was really to establish linkages with our indigenous craftspeople, craftsmen and women, so that the tradition will continue. It's something similar to the schools of living tradition established by NCCA all over the country. And in fact, we were inspired by that, because we were thinking, if these traditions will die, then these artifacts will just remain to be artifacts displayed in the museum for the consumption of the viewers. But our intention was not just to be a repository or a display window of some antique or old or traditional representations of material culture of the Cordillera people. We wanted the museum to be a platform for reinvigorating, for recreating and innovating on traditional culture, so that they will continue to be relevant and therefore to be vigorous and dynamic, even as we embrace changes through modernity or modernization, or changes coming from outside through globalization. So we also had craft demonstrations like this tattooing. We already invited tattoo artists from other countries, like this guy from Taiwan, am I correct, Ikin? Taiwan or Japan, or one of the two. So it immediately attracted artists, from the Philippines and also abroad. It had that attraction already. It sort of attracted creatives, artists, anthropologists, people in the culture and arts, to the center, and established linkages with us and collaborated with us on activities and projects. We also had lectures already to further explain what a museo, what a university museum is, how to conserve and preserve artifacts, and all other topics. So we had this lecture series coming from our consultants themselves. That was already after we had established the museum. Their connection with us continued even after their contract had expired. So we're very grateful to These people, as mentioned earlier, sila Ma'am Boots Herrera, si Mr. Peter Natividad. I think he is here in the panel right now. Hi, Peter. And Mr. Danny Alvarez. So they continue to be part of the family, no, of UP Baguio. They did not just disappear after the launching of the museum. So those are the lecture series well attended by mostly by our students, no, our anthropology and other disciplines of the university. The museum also became a learning hub. No, it's became a learning a center, resource center. So our faculty would bring their students, like Professor John D. Carvajal here, who is a faculty in fine arts. In this picture, he brought his students in fine arts to do an exercise on sketching, I think, or whatever it is that he asked the students to do. So the point is, he brought his students inside the museum and had a class there, conducted his art class there. There are other classes that are or class sessions that are happening in the museum now. Even students from other schools, no, here in Baguio City, go to the museum to learn, no, from the museum. It has also become a place for apprenticeship of students in tourism management or tourism and hospitality in other universities here in Baguio City. The museum also became a venue for other academic or intellectual pursuits or activities, like launching of books related to the Kordilyera. Like in this picture, you'll find the national artist for music, Ramon Santos, who launched his book on the vocal repertoire of the Ibaloy from the Kabayan. He was assisted here by the occasion was graced by our national artist for arts, Ben Cabrera. The second exhibit was on Feast of Merit. So let me just present some pictures. And the third exhibit, which is still ongoing up to now because we have not been able to change. Usually we would have thematic exhibits for 1 year, but because of the pandemic, we were not able to do a new thematic exhibit. So what we have now is still the hand-woven tales, the wire and the weft of the Cordillera textiles, which is still ongoing. And it has now a virtual component. So that's the main exhibit area. Note that this particular exhibit also brought in other creatives, no, in the city. Fashion designers, no, especially those that are specializing on use of local fabrics and textiles, participated, no, in a fashion show that was held alongside the inauguration or the opening of the exhibit, no, of this particular exhibit on Cordillera textiles, showing not only the traditional textiles of the Cordillera, but also how they are expressed in a contemporary setting, no, contemporary crafts, contemporary design, no, in textiles. So what are the outputs and outcomes so far? No, in December from April to December 2017, we had a total of 6,323 visitors. In February to November 2018, we had a total of 10,626 visitors. Ticket sales for 2018 amounted to 10,892. The average monthly income or net profit on museum merchandise is 35,000 pesos, enough to pay one full-time staff, no, of the the Museo. In terms of outcomes, we believe we have increased the cultural awareness and appreciation among visitors and the public. We have increased public visibility and community engagement by the academics of UP Baguio, and developed a sense of place and pride of place among UP Baguio and Baguio City at large as a community. So this chart, this table shows you the statistics in terms of entrance to the museum prior to the pandemic. If you notice, we had 7,153 visitors before the pandemic. Of course, that dropped immediately after the pandemic. So this pie chart and bar chart shows you the disaggregation of visitors based on age and status. So we have adults, mostly adults, 28%, senior citizens, 3%, students, 16%. We have group tours, 12%. Majority of our visitors or those who enter the museum are of course from UP, 41%. And we have children, also children coming in from 5 years old who come in for free. This graph, this pie chart and graph shows you the gender disaggregation of visitors, and it also shows you the graph in terms of sales, because we do track our revenues as well, to be able to show that a museum can be sustainable even from the financial point of view. So you can see, of course, the fluctuations there. The sales would peak during July, August, November, and would dip to November. And I realized that even other businesses in Baguio City, and I think elsewhere, would really suffer in terms of revenues during the month of October, but would peak during November and December. Now, I would like to emphasize that the Museo Kordilyera is just part of a comprehensive master development plan for UP Baguio that we came up with, that we crafted through a participatory process through consultations with various stakeholders in the university, including our alumni, and that master plan was approved by our board of regents. So gone are the days when we were just building here and there without any clear and coherent vision for the campus. So now with a master plan, there are elements. We agreed on the basic elements of the plan. Of course, they can deviate from it a little bit to allow for creativity, but that will have to be based on the basic principles of the master plan, which is environmental friendly, principles of sustainability, and principles of being friendly to various stakeholders, including the differently abled persons in the campus and outside the campus. So the Museo is part. The museum is here, right? So, but we are also building now this bigger complex. It is already being completed under the administration of my Chancellor Corazon Abansi. And it is this structure here will be composed of a Galleria Kordilyera, a gallery that will be right beside the museum. Our Bulwagang Juan Luna, which is going to be an auditorium cum theater inside this. It's going to be a modern theater. And we will relocate our very internationally renowned Kordilyera Studies Center, which is the University Research Center focusing on Cordillera studies. It will be relocated in below this auditorium, also right beside the second level of the Museo Kordilyera. So this whole space here now will become a cultural hub, no, of the UP Baguio. We also have the UP Baguio Innovation Hub, which is going to be completed, I think, if not this year, next year. It's already rising. This is right facing the Sunshine Park of Baguio City, if you're familiar with it. No, this innovation hub will become a space for interdisciplinary research programs of Baguio's UP Baguio. And one example of that is the Corditext project, again, headed by Dr. Analyn Salvador-Amores, which is, this project brings in expertise from physics, no, from biology, from chemistry, from human kinetics, no, looking at the traditional weaving in the Kordilyera and how it can be improved and innovated. In fact, recently I heard from Dr. Salvador-Amores that finally the digital loom, no, that we acquired, no, from Denmark, I suppose, or Norway, is now already in the campus, and it's going to be a very helpful technology to revive, no, designs that are no longer being used by our weavers, very, very old, ancient weaving designs that that can be revived actually using this technology of digital loom, or digital loom. It is. Okay. Of course, we also have the Teatro Amyanan. It's already completed. It's being used already for cultural performances, for lectures, and other activities. It's a very beautifully designed theater located right beside our library. And below that museum, below the theater, is our Darnay de Metilio art space, no, which became, this one is like the maybe something like a laboratory, no, for our fine arts students. They have a workshop there, a workplace, and they also have a mini gallery where they can now display, no, exhibit their final outputs in their classes. We also have the Gimnasio Amyanan, which is already complete. We have the Science Research Center, which is also complete. And the Balay International, which is about to be launched, I think, soon by Chancellor Bansi. It will house our visiting professors from abroad and other universities in the country and international students. And it will also be a space for it can also be a space for exhibits, no, and other creative activities, no, in that space. It will also have a dormitory for students of UP Baguio. Okay, now how did we become involved in this UNESCO Creative City thing? No, or immediately after we launched the Museo Kordilyera in January or February of 2017, we were also involved in the crafting of the application for Baguio City to be a part of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. Our motivation, no, as a university, as a Museo Kordilyera, then was really to push stakeholders in Baguio City, especially mostly the local government unit and the mayor at that time, to make Baguio more sustainable, no? Because we were really concerned about the way it has gone beyond the limits of its carrying capacity because of unregulated growth, no, unregulated tourism or over tourism. So we were worried about the imminent decay of Baguio City, and so we thought we had to do something about it. And we thought that I think the UNESCO Creative City Network would be a good platform precisely for that, no? And to look at creativity and culture as drivers of sustainable development in the city and its communities. And because we were already there, and precisely what we were doing in UP Baguio were already elements of sustainability. And we thought that since we already have models or proof of concepts of how things can be done, we thought that I think we had the right, or we had the moral ascendancy and the moral responsibility to push for this, no, within the bigger community of the city, of Baguio City. In other words, we can walk the walk and walk the talk, right? Because we have examples of concepts already that work here in our campus. So we were at the forefront of that. No, we were, in fact, yours truly was the one who drafted the application, of course, with the help of the other stakeholders in the city. And yeah, and so we got it. No, we applied in the category of crafts and folk arts because we believe that Baguio really has a tradition of crafts, no, like wood carving, weaving, no, metal crafts, the silver industry, no, and the weaving industry, of course. And so these were the pillars that we applied for UNESCO to acknowledge Baguio rather as a creative city for crafts and folk arts. And yeah, so luckily we got it in October 30, 2017. Baguio was designated as the first, no, UNESCO creative city for crafts and folk arts, no, in the Philippines. Now, of course, the second creative city now, as you know, is Cebu, which is UNESCO creative city for design naman. No? And now we are also helping other cities, no, who would like to apply, no, in the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. We are offering our services for free on how they can also become a creative city. All right. Now, what are the other contributions? No? What is the link between Museo Kordilyera and the Creative City? The Creative City initiative is all about sustainable development, as I said, and it's all about pushing for sustainable tourism and creativity as drivers of sustainable development, no, for the city of Baguio. During a strategic planning workshop, we participated in this exercise composed of various stakeholders in the city, and we agreed on 6 key result areas, no, on how we can push forward the agenda for sustainable development as a creative city. One is to establish, strengthen, and diversify creative showcases and festivals. Number 2 is to develop and implement the Baguio Creative Circuit. Number 3 is to establish strategic partnership with sister UNESCO cities. Number 4 is to establish effective communications platform. Number 5 is to is capacity building, resource mobilization, and fundraising from diverse sources. And number 6, institution building. Now, how did UP Baguio, largely through Museo Kordilyera, contribute to these key result areas? No, and I'm proud to say that while I was preparing this presentation, I realized that we did contribute a lot, and I would not hesitate to say that UP Baguio was really at the center, at the forefront of these strategic initiatives. For example, in the key result area number 1, strengthened and diversified creative showcases and festivals, we were instrumental, we were active participants in the launching of a new festival in Baguio City, the Baguio Creative Festival. The first name was Entacul, Baguio Creative Festival, but it didn't quite get good traction and feedback from various observers. And so we decided during the second creative festival to name it Baguio, which is from the Ibaloy word Baguio, which refers to a moss, no, that grew abundantly in the city, which became, I think, the reason why it was called Baguio, which is Baguio is a slang for Baguio, no? So we call it Baguio, the Creative Festival. And these festivals have just had a fourth run in 2021 last year, and all of these were very, very successful. Each festival would outdo the previous one in terms of the diversity of activities, the quality of creative outputs that we produce, and the number of visitors, both virtual and physical. In fact, I'm proud to say that we were only one of the few cities, or if not one of the only city in the entire country that continued to do a festival during the height of the pandemic for the past 2 years. And these festivals were were hybrid, both using both physical activities as well as virtual activities. All became very successful and really positioned Baguio City as a creative city, really, that we do deserve that status. For key result area number 2, develop creative hubs and Baguio Creative Circuit. Well, UP Baguio, Museo Kordilyera, and the Teatro Amianan are now considered one of the creative circuits, in Baguio City. So it's now being promoted by the tourism department of tourism in the Cordillera, as well as the National Department of Tourism, as a must-see, a must-visit creative space here in this part of the country. For key result area number 3, establish strategic partnerships with sister UNESCO cities. Well, UP Baguio contributed in this aspect by hosting the first international conference on Southeast Asian crafts and folk art in Baguio City. This was also funded by CHED with support from the local government of Baguio City. This happened in November 21, 22, 2019, and it brought participants and exhibitors and paper readers from Malaysia, Thailand, Laos, Indonesia, Taiwan, Japan, India, USA, UK, Canada, and Australia. The proceedings of this, if you're interested, are online. It's online. There's a published e-publication of the proceedings of this conference. For the key result area number 4, we established an effective communications platform. The Baguio Creative City has an official Facebook page. You might want to visit it. The link is there. You can find it on the screen, and you will see how vibrant the culture and art scene in Baguio now, more than ever, because of our designation as a creative city. We were even more inspired to really prove that we deserve it and improve on what we have, even before we were declared a creative city. So, of course, in terms of content, UP Baguio contributes to this platform, social media platform. In terms of the key result area number 4, the establish effective communications platform, we also have open and regular engagements of the government with the creatives and the private sector. So we are always invited to facilitate these meetings with various stakeholders because of the perception and the reality, I guess, that the university is a neutral platform. It can bring various groups who otherwise would not talk to each other for one reason or another. So the university played that role in terms of facilitating all these multi-stakeholder meetings. We also offered, in fact, the facilities of the university for general assemblies, meetings of creatives, dialogues between artists and creatives and government officials were held in the University of the Philippines Baguio facilities. Okay. For key result area number 5, to develop the capacity of creatives and mobilize resources for the Creative City initiatives. Again, UP Baguio is in the forefront of this. We've been co-sponsoring, supporting initiatives by NGOs like the BACI, the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Incorporated, by offering our facilities and faculty to be speakers in seminars like product development, design thinking, branding, packaging, promotions and marketing, and museum management, like what is being done now by Museo Kordilyera. We have this creative talk series, on design-led creative thinking for everyday life. And we have speakers from the university, our faculty, and the BACI, by the way, which is an NGO that we helped organize when we were declared a creative city. So again, we are part of this whole network of government and non-government organizations now working together for the promotion of sustainable tourism and creativity tourism in the city of Baguio. Of course, the Commission of Higher Education, the DTI, the Department of Tourism, the Tourism Promotions Board of the Philippines, the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective, which is an NGO, the Baguio Tourism Council, schools like Berkeley School, St. Louis University, and the University of the Cordilleras. Also, as part of the need to strengthen organizations, institutions to sustain all these initiatives, the Baguio the Baguio Crafts and Arts Collective, or BACI, was organized in December 2017, and it was organized inside in the campus of UP Baguio. We were the lead organizer, in fact, of this organization. Of course, we had to exit when it was already organized, as an NGO. For key result area number 6, establish and strengthen institutions and organizations for creative governance. We were also influential in terms of creation of legal instruments for this, like the Administrative Order number 66, establishing the Creative City Desk at the City Hall, followed by an Executive Order number 161, creating the Council for Baguio Creative City. But the more permanent institution now taking care of the culture and arts and creative activities of the city is the Creative Baguio City Council, which I am now co-chairing with Mayor Magalong. This was created by virtue of City Ordinance number 46, series of 2021. So this is the CBCC is a big group, It's a formidable group composed of all the stakeholders in Baguio City in culture and arts and creativity, We have government organizations, NGOs, and individual artists representing various disciplines, like the visual arts, performing arts, the crafts, basically following the UNCTAD categories, of culture and arts and creativity. Okay, so I think I am now about to conclude. I am ready to conclude, so we can have more time for open forum after this presentation. So as to the question, what were the factors that contributed to the success of a university museum, at least from our experience here in UP Baguio? You have to have the passion, commitment, competence, and innovative spirit of faculty and staff. It really starts there. Everything that is, in fact, I believe that all things that become successful inside the university and outside of it start with passion. No? You've got to have that, no, passion and commitment. Otherwise, nothing will happen. No. A well-articulated concept and roadmap with a vision, mission, goals, and objectives, and of course, the corresponding PPAs or the programs, projects, and activities that will carry out, that will bring the outcomes and the results. And all these plans should be owned by the university stakeholders and the community. In the case of UP Baguio, all of these plans were presented in a multi-stakeholder planning workshop in the university, including its alumni, and so they owned it. They owned the whole vision and mission for the university, as well as for the Museo Kordilyera. You have to have the resources, of course, no? You have to have the financial, the human, and technical resources. If you don't have it right now, outsource it, like what I did, no? Like what we did. Outsource, get the expertise somewhere else first, but with the intention or goal of developing the capacity, no, and the capability of the university resources or the staff to carry on what they have learned, no, from external consultants. No? And I guess we were also very lucky at that time, because we had a very supportive leadership in the university who knew the importance of UP Baguio and its role in the Cordillera region and in the nation. In fact, they realized that UP Baguio could really lead in indigenous studies and in anything and everything about indigenous peoples, not only in the region, but also in the nation, or even also internationally. And they invested on that. They took a risk on that, no, in that vision that we offered for them, no, at the system level. And of course, we also fought for that in various levels of decision making in the university until up to the level of the Presidential Advisory Council, where I sat, and the Board of Regents, no, of the university. And so funds were coming in, and especially when they saw how beautiful the design was, and we were always, when we present report, it's always visual, so that they will appreciate what you're trying to do and what you have done. And you know what I tell you, if you do something good and something really attractive and beautiful, and the resources will come. It will attract talents. It will attract donations and even money and technical expertise, because people would want to invest in something that is worthy of their time and the resources, isn't it? And then, of course, another factor is you have to have a robust research in the university. A university museum cannot be sustained if you don't have a dynamic or robust research culture, no, in the university, because precisely a university museum is a showcase of knowledge produced, no, in the university. And it's a learning platform. It's also a pedagogical tool to popularize cultural knowledge produced by the university in partnership, in collaboration with indigenous communities and other local communities. And of course, you have to have the support of university leadership, as I said, the alumni, and the community. Okay, and we've seen that happen here in Baguio, UP Baguio, especially since they saw that we were not just doing it for ourselves. We were not being selfish about our resources. We were opening our facilities, our doors to other stakeholders in the city. And so when we were the ones now who are asking for help, it was easy to get it, because they knew that we had a good purpose. It was not parochial. It was not just for the university interest. It was something for the common good. Okay, so that's the key there. And as far as addressing the role of my topic, the role of university museums in tourism development and creative industry, I summarize this according to these bullets. The university, in fact, the entire campus, and the museum in particular, can be a model of sustainable and creativity tourism. Okay? As we have seen in the presentation, it can be a driver of creativity and innovation through design thinking. No? Even before we learned about design thinking as a concept, as a methodology, in fact, our professionals were already applying it. No? Our architect, our engineers, our curators, our artists, our graphics design artists working in the museum were already employing and practicing design thinking. Okay, and so the museum became also a hub precisely for various disciplines and various creative forms to come together and collaborate, no, in this creative space, the Museo Kordilyera. So I have like what I have seen presented earlier. So you have fashion designers, graphic designers, the architects, no, the artists, the visual artists, even those creating popular materials like comics, no, kasi Museo Kordilyera also produce comics to popularize or storybooks for children, no. So we had storytellers, writers also collaborating with us, no. So the whole range of creative forms or creative disciplines are attracted, no, in the center, in the museum because of its work. We also support micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs. No. Oh, by the way, I think I was able to present. I missed a slide in the presentation where actually UP Baguio and Museo Kordilyera initiated, no, Manda Coquito, which is now a very successful artisanal platform for creatives and artists in Baguio City and the Cordillera to sell, no, their products. We launched this at the height of the pandemic in June of 2020, and it became a hit. No, we targeted a particular a sector, market. We only sold high quality premium products of artists and creatives. Initially, we had it in the oblation grounds of UP Baguio, and it became very, very successful. No? I'm sorry that I wasn't able to, I missed that slide, but in terms of financial success, the Manda Coquito, for instance, was able to earn for the craftspeople, millions of pesos, no? From 1.2 during the first run to 1.3 during the second run to 1.7 million during the third run, and the recent run 2.7 million. Nabuti na lang na-memorize ko yung figures. 2.7 million during the most recent Manda Coquito. Manda Co means let's sell. It's an Ibaloy term for let us sell. So it's really explicitly for creative economy, no, for creating revenues or income for our craftspeople. So 2.7 million sales in October of 2021. We will have it again this coming June and July. And one thing interesting about this is that we have transferred the venues for the Manda Coquito outside of UP Baguio. And we have transferred ownership of the concept to the NGO, the BACI, the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Incorporated. So UP Baguio was just the parent, no, of this of this baby Baki, which now grew, or Mandeco Quito, which is now growing and maturing and able to run without the university. Again, talk about sustainability. We also are a showcase for our proofs of concepts of sustainable urban design and community development. Kasi nga, di ba, sustainable development is such an abstract concept, no? Almost, how do you call this? It's hard to, it's very difficult to explain it to ordinary people, to the lay people. So it's best to just show concepts or proofs of concepts of it, no? In terms of urban design, in terms of practices, in community development, like the Mandeco Quito, no? Like the Baguio Festival, like the other projects that are community-based that I did not mention here in this presentation. Like we have the garden competition in the city. It can also be a hub of cultural and educational development, the museum, and as a site of inclusion, health, and well-being. See, the museum is open and is able to attract people with disabilities, the indigenous communities from different parts of the country also, and in the region. And generally, it fosters well-being, no? Among the creatives, the practitioners, the people who visit the place feel good, no? After the experience of visiting the museum. So these are my concluding remarks, and I thank you. I am now ready to entertain your questions. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ray Rovillos, for that very comprehensive, enlightening, and inspiring talk demonstrating the link and network of museums to the creative industry and the sustainable tourism development in the city of Baguio. Maraming salamat po. Now, we open the floor to questions from our participants. Okay, so in the chat box, there are already questions, no? So let's start with Kelly Ramos. Hello, Kelly. Okay, I'll just read out, sir, the questions for this session, no? Good morning, sir RR. I have a question about tourism development as an outcome rather than an objective at Museo Kordilyera. Would you advise the same approach for others who are still crafting the objectives of our museums? What about for museums that are not located in tourism towns? And she loves your talk, and she's a big fan of Museo Kordilyera.
Hi, Kelly. I know Kelly, and I think she's now in Cagayan de Oro City, but
yes,
she worked here. She stayed here in the city for quite some time. Hi, Kelly. Ang sagot ko dyan ay, ako tingin ko, think organically first, no? Think of your resources, your assets. Think intrinsically first. There has to be an appreciation for culture for its own sake first, before we can talk about culture for its value, or culture as an instrument for something, culture for tourism, culture for this and that. No, there has to be that appreciation first. No, otherwise we will lose our soul. No, we lose the very reason why we have this, which nourishes our soul. I am not saying that instrumentalizing it will result in losing our spirit and soul, but I'm just saying that it's the safety net is. Wait. Maingay yung aking aso. Labasin ko muna. Sorry about that distraction. Okay, so my advice to our colleagues in other universities and places is precisely to build on that first. Do something for its own sake because you believe in it, because you believe that it is good for the community, and make it nice, make it excellent. No, of course you can also explicitly at the beginning say that you want to do this because you want to attract tourists, but it should not be the primary incentive or the primary reason why you are putting up a museum or anything of related to culture and arts. No, just build something nice and beautiful, and all other outcomes will follow, right?
Okay, Sir RR. So there is a related question from Mild Hombre Bueno from Nueva Vizcaya State University Museum. Okay, she's also our former student and now she heads the museum there. Okay, thank you, Dr. Rovillos, for a truly inspiring and thought-provoking presentation. Now the question is, to what extent should there be a synergy of institutions, the academe and the local community towards sustainable development?
There has to be a large degree of synergy. No, it can be done beforehand, or it can be done after the fact or after all the initiatives. No, like in the case of wait. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. In the case of Baguio City, there was no coordination before. No, but because after we created the Baguio Creative City Council, there's more harmonization of initiatives. There is now a platform, an avenue for interagency and in public-private sector meeting to coordinate initiatives, to complement initiatives, and to mobilize resources from various sectors for certain initiatives, especially those that need those resources, our creatives and our artists. No? So we now have the resources not only of the local government unit, but also of government agencies like the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Tourism, the Tourism Promotions Board, etc. So they are there. No, they have their mandates, and we can actually tap into their mandates for whatever programs and projects and activities that the creatives might want to undertake. So yeah, the answer is there has to be coordination. We have to synergize, no? Or we have to how do you call it? You have to systematize the synergy that is already there, or that may be already there, but there is no organizational expression for that yet.
Okay,
I hope that is
thank you,
clear.
sir. Yeah. Well, another follow-up from Mild is that you mentioned about collaboration with other agencies, no? And the other question is, she's wondering what crosses the borderline of sustainable tourism to commodification of culture.
Okay, that's a frequently asked. That's a frequently asked question. No? So what crosses the borderline, and how do we guard against the commercialization,
Commodification of culture.
commodification of culture? No? You know, we can have a whole debate and discussion on this, ano? But for me, kasi as a historian, in fact, indigenous peoples themselves have already engaged in exchange, no? In some sort of commodification, no? Or in cash economy, no? Maybe the term commodification can be unpacked can be defined. But as far as participation in the cash economy of concern, many indigenous peoples, at least in the Cordillera, have long participated in this process for their own, for community development. No, now what we have to guard against, no, is inequity or exploitation of anything that involves exchange, whether that exchange is in terms of monetary exchange or non-monetary exchange. What we have to guard against is that one party is exploited by another party. What I'm saying is that commodification and participation in the cost economy is already there long before, since time immemorial, when we embraced a cash economy as a mode. Indigenous peoples using their agency have again, what I'm trying to argue is that what we need to do is to put mechanisms for an equal exchange, for exploitation, for inequity that may arise out of that exchange. And how can we do that? Through more equal market systems, like exchanges, doing away with the middlemen and women who exploit the indigenous communities, providing access to markets to our craftspeople from the interior places in the Cordillera, okay, and providing them information so that they know the current prices, the rates, so that they are not exploited unduly by other people. We can also help now in terms of registering or applying for community rights or community collective rights of their intellectual property or over crafts or individual output, that they should be recognized by the intellectual property rights regime, both in the traditional sense and the Western, the state instruments that we have.
Okay, thank you, sir. In fact, many of our artisans and craftspeople have registered to the IPO for the copyright of their work. Still, we need to do a lot of work on the ground regarding information campaign. So marami pa ring nangangailangan in terms of those kind of information. Okay, on a related question from Buen Josef Andrade. Buen is from the Visayas State University in Baybay City, Leyte. Okay, this is the comment and question. Great presentation, sir. In case of the VSU, in which anthropology is not its forte and lacks research on that area, how can we go about with your proposed museum? Can we work with local government regarding this matter, and how can we go about it?
Hi. Yeah, if you don't have an anthropology program or faculty teaching anthropology, maybe we can look at other disciplines that are closest to it. First, we have to look at, before we look at the external resources available, we really have to rely first and to take leverage on our internal resources. Otherwise, it will not be sustainable. Otherwise, it will just become, how do we sustain it if we don't have the expertise or the interest or the mandate to do it? So if you don't have an anthropology discipline in your university, maybe other related disciplines like fine arts or sociology or, well, tourism, if you have a tourism program, yung mga ganon before, and then you build on those resources. And if you lack, if you need to complement it with other expertise, then you get help from outside, like what we did. Although we already have an anthropology discipline to speak of in the university, we still got the help of other people, because we wanted to avoid inbreeding and inbreeding and parochial thinking even among us. There is always something new, we will always benefit from ideas coming from outside, and cross-fertilize it, if I may use the term, with our own internal, with our own ideas, to produce a hybrid sort of idea or project.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is a related question again in relation to research, no, from Kelly Ramos. What would you advise on how to inspire the faculty and staff's passion and commitment for the museum projects and its for the museum and its other projects?
My advice is to provide them. If you are in a leadership position, if you are in a university with a leadership position, inspire them, provide them a platform, for their ideas to come out, for their interests and ideas to be expressed. You have to be very supportive of this. I am not an artist. I am not a creative in the sense of the creativity that we speak of now. I'm a social scientist. I'm a historian. But what I did was simply to support and to believe in the passion and to acknowledge the passion and to provide all the necessary support for that, for those creative juices, creative talents to be expressed, and for people to come together and share their skills and talents. So that's from the perspective of university administrators. For the artists themselves, assuming, for example, that you're not getting that. You don't seem to be getting that kind of support and initiative from your leaders. Do it among yourselves. Create groups. Create creative communities. In fact, I would like to emphasize that at the heart of our being a creative city is the existence of creative communities. And Kelly, I think you will agree with me, having stayed in the Baguio city, that we would not have become a creative city, or we have always been a creative city because of creative communities, who come together, do things together, plan things to exhibit, and come together in creative spaces like Ililikha, or in Vocas of Kidlat Tahimik, or in Benka Museum. Use your human agency, your ability to do something among yourselves, especially if you come together as a group already. And it is best to have a common purpose, Kasi you can work naman individually. You can work on your own, and that's the nature of your work as artists, especially in your discipline in the visual arts. But how do you come together? You come together because you have a common purpose, You have a vision for the community.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just a comment from Gilbert Nemenzo. So what UP Baguio and Museo Kordilyera is doing is very impressive and inspiring. So this is a very good start for the training, the connection between the museums and on the creative industry. Okay, another question from Maria Asuncion Mirales Hije. Okay, so are there also initiatives for projects concerning Cordillera heritage cuisines are situated in the Cordillera way of life, including, for instance, rituals?
Yeah, well, as mentioned earlier, the Museo Cordillera, in fact, is a platform now for the conservation and preservation of Cordillera indigenous, Cordillera tangible and intangible heritage. In the future, we will be featuring more intangible forms like rituals, right? And actually, the exhibit on Feasts of Merit was all about indigenous rituals. I think the Museo through IKIN is now also looking at the possibility of doing an exhibit on ethnomusicology, or another idea that came out during the planning, I think, was about, although this is a bit dark, the mention mo sa akin, Ikin, earlier, is it about
the
amulets?
amulets.
Amulets, mga ganun, mga
Kordilyera.
antique ganyan, ano, Cordillera amulets. So, yeah, the museum should be able to provide, should be the platform for intangible and cultural heritage. Now, as far as gastronomy is concerned, we have not done anything on that yet, but gastronomy is always, how do you call, a cross-cutting element in what we do in UP Baguio and Museo Cordillera and the creative city in general. We serve indigenous food, no, especially innovative indigenous food. In Baguio City, we now have a new festival that was also launched during after we were designated a creative city, featuring Cordillera gastronomy. No? It's called Mangantaku, or Let Us Eat.
Yes.
No, it happens in the month of May, and it's another festive activity that celebrates Cordillera gastronomy.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chancellor. So we will accommodate 2 more questions. No, for questions on the more technical aspect, like how much does the exhibit cost, no, and other matters. No, we can you can just send us an email on how we can advise you on the technical aspects. Okay. So another question from Faith Cortez. What are your recommended best practices that we can adopt in order to increase community linkages and foot traffic in the museum? No, so this is about museums and community linkages. Any advice?
I think, Faith, I already presented
Yes.
several in the presentation, but let me give you more specific, no, concrete examples. You can have co-makers workshops like the one that we did with the weavers, no. You can have workshops on how to do the weaving. You can have it in your museums. You can partner with artists and creatives or in the organizations in the conduct of art fairs and crafts fairs, no, like what we did for Mandakokito and the Baguio Festival, no. So there are many avenues for community engagement, no, especially with the creatives,
Okay.
the artists, no.
All right. Thank you, sir, for that response, no, to all our questions from our participants, no. So regarding the themes, no, on topics or matters on mounting exhibitions, no, deciding on that, maybe you can look at the researches of your faculty and then develop from there, no. So somebody's asking about the possibility of having an exhibit on ethnoastronomy, no. So this one we have not explored yet, but in mounting exhibitions, you have to look at the available research, no, in your university. Okay. Any last words, Sir RR, on this final note for this session before we move on? It's already 12:43, and last advice for our participants.
Yeah. Well, I would like to congratulate participants in this training workshop. I think you should consider yourself lucky that you are having this training, all these inputs before you embark on building your own museum or improving your existing museum. We had to, do it in another way. We had to contract consultants to be able to help us. We had to do benchmark studies of good museums all over the country and the world, but here you're provided with a lot of learnings already, knowledge and skills and even attitudes on how to go about managing a museum. So please get all the learnings that you can from all the experts that we were able to invite again for this training, and yeah, just have that passion and the commitment, no, for culture and us, for our heritage, and always look at the bigger picture that we do this for our collective identity and for our future, no, as a nation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir RR, for that wonderful presentation and accommodating all the questions from our participants. No? So we hope to see you and have a good day, sir. Okay.
Okay. Bye. I can say bye-bye now.
Okay, for the participants, you can also give us a feedback on this session. And for tomorrow, we have a session and orientation about the museum management training. No? And now we will move on to the last part of our session, will be the capsule report for year 1 of the museum management training.
is continually evolving. Today, we witness a shift in tourism paradigm.
And the cultural knowledge that we have is very important.
This one is an Ifugao bulul that has been lent to us.
To silk screen. So what we need to do is just get the first layer, on the top layer, the measurement. Then
we will now make sure that you will not be consultant dependent, and you will now be able to put together your own museums with least assistance from the others.
The basic tools that we need to set up the studio, a camera that you're comfortable with, together with it.
Also, generally, museum staff are advised not to pursue.
In doing that, I'd like to focus on the two important words in that formulation, which is to curate and to exhibit. To curate is to...
So why are museums important? Because museums and galleries give us an insight into the history of humankind. So even John Dewey, who is a prominent leader in
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much to all our speakers, to our Chairperson Popoy de Vera, our Chancellor, Ma'am Cora Abansi, and our plenary session for today, Professor Ray Rovillos, and to our panelists and participants for today's training. Thank you so much. No? And then tomorrow, we will have the second day of our museum management training for a brief orientation for all our participants. And you will also meet some of our panelists, no, or resource persons, no, for year 2 of the museum management training. Okay, thank you very much. And for all the participants, we appreciate your feedback. Your views are very important to us. So please log on to the form below. The link, there's a link there where you can make some comments, no, or assessment on today's session. Thank you very much and have a good day. And we will see you all tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.